Right then, lads, welcome back to the 90 More podcast. My name is Kosi. We're going to be diving into the latest around your Premier League clubs. We'll be diving into Chelsea, Man United, and Arsenal's business end of the transfer season. They're trying to close the window by pulling off a spectacular, especially Man United, that you feel really need players to come through the door. I think Erik ten Hag must be disappointed at the moment. He didn't start off the season very well. And the Glazers, you would feel, have actually not backed him first and foremost very well, but also with the players that he's actually asking for. So we're going to be diving into everything. In the comment section, which player would you love your team to sign as the window closes in the last few weeks? Which player would you feel is the right solution for your club? Be it Arsenal, be it Liverpool, be it Chelsea, or Manchester United. Now, of course, honestly, I'm always joined by Mustafa. We're going to be diving into each and every club. Of course, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can join us on TikTok. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, 90 More. You'll be able to find us. Now, Mustafa, let's start off with Man United because they do have a couple of problems in their squad.
Of course.
And Ronaldo should be the starting point. I mean, in your opinion, what do they do with Ronaldo? Because for me, he's a problem. And he's a problem that is bigger than the club at the moment, bigger than Erik ten Hag, because I don't think ten Hag in his career has managed a player as big as Ronaldo. He's told them, I want to leave. United have made themselves very clear. He's not for sale. It's more of holding back a player, keeping a player that feels I should be out of this. I don't want to be part of this group. And they're keeping him. Does it do them any advantages?
Of course, 37 years of age, Cristiano Ronaldo is having, of course, and the caliber that, as a player, the caliber is in. Like you've said, Ten Hag has never coached a player like Cristiano Ronaldo. Of course, we saw it before the season started. There were some things that happened, of course, before even the player came into the squad. We saw him not willing to come back. Of course, the fact that the club didn't qualify for the UEFA Champions League, I think it was the starting point of everything, of Cristiano Ronaldo wanting to go out. But of course, where we are right now, I think we've seen so many things that as a coach, I don't think that Erik ten Hag would like Cristiano Ronaldo to stay. Of course, we so much believe that the coach wants to build his territory. That is at the club, at Manchester United. But of course, you can't build that with the way how Cristiano Ronaldo has been behaving. We saw him on his first game when he came at the club. Of course, being substituted in the game and just walked away out of the game. Of course, driving away from the pitch. I think it's one of those things that showed the coach that I'm not supposed to be here. But of course, we know so much what Cristiano Ronaldo can do. Even to the players, I think last season, Manchester players, the likes of Marcus Rashford, the likes of Jadon Sancho didn't perform well. To me, I think it was Cristiano Ronaldo. Of course, most of these players look to Cristiano Ronaldo, and whichever ball they got, of course, they wanted to feed him so that he can score. So I think the biggest solution for Manchester United right now, first is to let Cristiano Ronaldo go. Of course, they said they are not ready to sell him, but I think if they do want to perform well,
that's the part
of now.
That's the part of the business I don't understand. When they say he's not for sale, we do not want to let go. Could it be because the club is on a decline and is the biggest brand? Because at the moment,
of course, he's the biggest
for brand reasons, for PR reasons, you keep him. I think they're looking at it in this way. The football cannot attract fans anymore. Nothing about this club at the moment is attractive but Ronaldo. And they're like, we will not sell him. We'll keep him for another year because he's the source of traffic that we have at the club. Is that the reason? And if it is, then is it good enough to keep a player?
It might be the reason, but of course, like according to the caliber, like Manchester United as a club, it's in. Remember, in those days of Sir Alex Ferguson, of course, they had so many big players, the likes of Wayne Mike Rooney, of course, the likes of so many players were at the club. But of course, the coach didn't allow such behaviors at the club. Of course, yes, Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the biggest players I think we've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
On this planet, of course, the things he has done, even his attitude just on the pitch, I think it's something that United per now cannot keep. So I think, like you said, of course, if United, maybe it depends on what the club wants per now. Of course, if they do want to perform well, because we saw them last season, they didn't even qualify. I think for like they just
They qualified for the Europa League. That was and they were very lucky because for me West Ham should have won the last game of the campaign.
Yeah, so if Manchester maybe want to stay in that caliber of just fighting to qualify for the Europa League, I think they should keep him. But if they do want to build a new rim,
exactly.
Yeah, and building a bigger thing that is starting from, and I think they should let Cristiano Ronaldo go.
You know, it happened with Arsenal. It's not like Arsenal. I think even Jurgen Klopp did it at Liverpool. When he came in, there was a season where he had to work with the existing talent and the existing players. But it started off by, getting rid of those big egos in the dressing room. And it's one thing that really helps a lot. Personally, as I'm an Arsenal fan, and I felt like Aubameyang and Mesut Ozil leaving because of Mikel Arteta was something unacceptable. And I was like, Mikel Arteta is making a huge mistake here. He's going to drown the club. Because the moment you lose the biggest club, the biggest players, the biggest names, you feel you're light. You feel you cannot, walk into a debate with with a Chelsea, with a Manchester City, or a Liverpool fan. But slowly, you build other egos, you build other stars, you build other big players. I think United are still afraid of going into that period.
I think it's the same thing that Pep Guardiola did at Manchester City. Of course, you do remember the players he formed there.
Yaya Toure.
Yeah, the likes of Yaya Toure, the likes of this African guy that is so many players were there, of course, and they were good players. The likes of Samuel Nasri. These are some of the players that were. But of course, he tried to inform the team, and of course bringing in new talents. And I think it's one of the reasons as why right now Manchester City, they don't even depend on one player, so they have very many players. And I think it's one thing that Manchester United has to do, getting rid of Cristiano Ronaldo. And of course it may be so painful to the Manchester United fans, some of whom I think per now of course also do believe that the player should go. So I think they should start this maybe in the following 3 or 4 years. We shall be seeing Manchester United back on top.
Yeah, I mean, personally, if I look at Ronaldo, I adore him. The football we have today, and he's a legend. He's an absolute legend. And everything we talk about in football in the last 20 years, Ronaldo, Messi, I think that debate has shaped our conversations. But the fact that he even thought about going to Atletico Madrid, the fact that he's been rejected everywhere just communicates to me.
I think this is the hardest time in his life.
Exactly.
Like in his football career.
In his career.
And of his career, being rejected by most of the teams.
And he has one of the best agents, if not arguably the best agent in the world, Mendes. And if Mendes cannot take you to Bayern, if he can't take you to Atletico Madrid, if he can't take you to a club with the Champions League, then if you're Man United, you need to go, okay, if this guy has been rejected everywhere and he's the best player in the last 10, 20 years, then we have a problem.
Of course.
We just need to get rid of. But I mean, I wanted to ask you, if they kept him, do you feel Erik ten Hag can work with him? I mean, is there some kind of consensus that, probably some kind of balance that he brings to this, to this Man United side, apart from the negative side? Because for me, I looked at Bruno Fernandes and all these other players, and I'm like, Ten Hag should be thinking, I'm going to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them very fast. But Ronaldo, 18 goals last campaign, no one, including me, no one anticipated him at 36, 37 to score those goals.
Of course,
he's one of the best in the world, but considering the physicality of the Premier League and how hard it is and the level of competitiveness in the league, I thought he was not even going to score 15. And he scored 18.
He scored 18 and of course plus goals in the Premier League, like you said. But I think the other thing that I told you about, he overshadowed most of these players that we saw scoring goals. Yeah, but that the likes of Bruno Fernandes.
That is also partly a reason to give him credit, because I think with or without Ronaldo, players like Marcus Rashford have fallen off a cliff in terms of their performances, and they've just fallen off with the ride, and they've just lost their form. Probably Sancho is different. I think the Mathematic last season was different,
of course,
and Bruno was just anonymous in the later part of the season. He just disappeared. Pogba just disappeared as well. So I mean, to win games, Do you feel they should just keep him because he won them a lot of points? 1-1 against Chelsea in the second leg, it was him. The first leg against Arsenal, it was him. Norwich 3-2, it was him. Tottenham Hotspur 3-2 as well?
Of course.
A hat trick, it was him. I mean, nostalgically, do you feel they should just keep him? Probably they should keep him to win games because it's going to be a long season for Man United, and they will need goals. For now, you search their squad, and you don't see where goals are going to come from.
Of course, without him, Manchester City can also score goals. But of course, the other thing that I told you about, when Cristiano Ronaldo is available at the squad, like we saw last season, before he came, Bruno Fernandes was scoring goals.
Yeah, had a fantastic run.
Marcus Rashford was also scoring some goals. The likes of Jadon Sancho. But when he came in, we saw goals for Bruno Fernandes. Of course, they decreased. We saw that because most of the times Bruno Fernandes was trying to create chances for Cristiano Ronaldo. So that's what I'm saying, that Manchester United goals last season, most of them came from one person, that is Cristiano Ronaldo. But of course, before him coming at the club, we saw they were coming from a variety of players. So without Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, United can score goals, still score goals, but it will depend on how the coach will be rotating his players, because we see he's having a lot of course, wingers like on the team. But of course, one thing that he's missing is that sharp shooter. And we think if Cristiano Ronaldo leaves, it's one thing that Manchester United should be looking about. And of course, not getting goals from wings, but also getting that sharp shooter who can help them at any time.
I want to ask you this: Ronaldo leaving Man United, because we need to be true to ourselves. Ever since they lost Ronaldo, they've had a few or many good players, quality players. You could even call them club legends, including Wayne Macaroni and the likes of, I thought Carrick was a good player. I thought Van Persie, the short time he was there, he was absolutely quality. But there is no player that shares the legacy he's built at the Old Trafford. Him coming back and he cannot even save them. It shows how far Man United have fallen. The question, I know you're a sports guy and you've looked into it. How have Man United fallen this far? Why are they in this situation? They've spent huge amounts of money. By the way, many people think the Glazers are not spending money. They've spent money. They've spent close to £100 million on Pogba, close to £80 million on Jadon Sancho in the past. They have one of the most expensive defenders in Harry Maguire. Half £100 million for Aaron Van Bissaka. They have spent and invested money, but why have they fallen this far ever since David Moyes?
Of course, I think ever since Alex Ferguson left this club, it's when the club started falling. One, when they brought in David Moyes, everyone thought that the club is going to be keeping him, of course, for some time. Most of the coaches don't start well, but giving them time is when they do start doing good. We've seen so many players. Of course, David Moyes.
Was that a massive mistake for Moyes to bring in Moyes, because he was joining a Man United side that was,
of course, it was a big club
that only knew one language, of course, winning. That there was no other language in their vocabulary. It was either you win or you win. And when he brought other options of top 4 is good, we can finish in top 6 and go to the Europa League, they're like, are you serious? So was that the biggest problem that they made, starting with starting in the post Alexander Ferguson era?
Maybe it was a problem, like a big challenge to him as a coach. Of course, being in the middle team and of course getting you to a winning team. I think it was a bigger problem. But the other thing I was talking about is I think Manchester United never gave coaches time. For example, Luis van Gaal, to me, he was a good coach, but they never gave him time to try out his thing, what he wanted to bring at the club.
Actually,
it's one of those things.
I remember Luis van Gaal telling Julian Timber, because they wanted to sign Julian Timber from Ajax, and he told Julian Timber, if you want to play football, World Cup football, don't go to Man United. You wouldn't go to Real Madrid, Man United. And I think they're realizing it now, that appointing Erik ten Hag is the same thing they did by appointing Luis van Gaal. But they didn't give him time.
Of course, the same thing is what I'm talking about. If they don't give Luis van Gaal time, I think they will continue with the same mistakes. We saw, I think one of the things that changed Manchester United's style, of course, and even up now where we are right now, is even their style of signing players. We saw those times back, Manchester United used to sign good players. Of course, most of them are English players, but they could be good players. But of course, right now, like you said, signing Harry Maguire, of course, one of the most expensive players. But you saw what he's doing on the pitch. Letting Manchester City, per now, of course, signing most of the good English players. I think it's one of the mistakes that Man United is doing. For example, if you see, Man United, of course, in most of the recent times, they didn't want to sign young players. They wanted to sign those players that have made
proven experience,
proven players. But of course, so many proven players. They may have proven, but of course, when they are maybe in a low league or they are in a different league. But those times we could see, for example, in the turn of Sir Alex Ferguson, he could sign proven players. But of course, in the Premier League, the likes of Van Persie, of course, one of those players that I think United maybe could have signed in this transfer, for example, the likes of Kevin Phillips, that player that Man United took, the likes of maybe Jack Grealish,
Yves Bissouma, but absolute quality. But Ruben Neves as well.
Like they wanted to take Declan Rice, a player to me that I think had not done so much good to be a United player. But so these are some of the things that I think that have let down Manchester United. Of course. I think the way they sign their players.
You know, my problem with their transfer policy is they've gone from who they are to who they do not know they are.
That's why we've seen even some players, of course, they don't want to join the team. But those times back, no player could refuse to join Man United. But of course, right now you see, you can see young players, of course, also refusing to join because they know
everything is not clear.
What is happening right now at the club.